My name is Godfrey Riddle. I studied abroad in the summer in St. Petersburg, Russia. I went for the St. Petersburg Language and Culture program. Well, I decided based on my major, and I guess when I was younger, I decided based on the movie Anastasia because I love it. And as I became older, I began to love Russian culture, architecture, all of that. And I just really wanted to study abroad. Yeah, I would say that cost was a pretty big concern for me going. I'm paying for college myself, so I'm on a really tight budget, as you can imagine, and study abroad, while it was something I always wanted to do, I didn't think it'd be very feasible. But since, fortunately, I picked Russian as my minor, they have this thing called FLAS, or Foreign Language Area Studies Fellowship, and basically undergraduates and graduates can apply to get money to study abroad, or to study a critical language like Russian, Arabic, and so forth. And mine, I wanted to go study abroad, so I applied for it, and fortunately I got the scholarship, and it just paid for me to go abroad. It covered pretty much everything. The rest that I couldn't cover, which was the plane ticket, I got an endowment loan for, so I pretty much, for the most part, didn't have to pay for anything, which was really great. I'd have to say my best memory by far was eating. I really love food, and I would definitely say I am a foodie. So I was Googling all these things to eat before I left, like, okay, I know you can see all these great things, but what can you eat while you're seeing these great things? So it was really great to go downtown to Nevsky Prospect, which is like the Champs-Élysées, except it's way longer and way wider, and there's so much down there. It's like a really big mass street, like times a billion. So there are all these great restaurants and all these great bookstores and stuff to see, and there was this one place where you got Georgian cuisine, and immediately I had a bit of a spaced out moment. I thought, why are they eating food from Georgia in America? But it's a country south of Russia called Georgia, and they have Georgian cuisine there, and it's really good. A lot of stuff with a lot of dill in it. That's the Russian influence. Everything has dill, and it was really good though. They have this thing called shashlik, which is a way you grill meat, and it's just like pork cubes that are grilled over an open fire after they're marinated in like lemon juice, and so good. That was the first time I ate shashlik. Is probably my best memory ever. So I love that. The thing I miss most is probably sightseeing. They have a lot of great architecture there, a lot of stuff that spans a lot of different generations, and a lot of political changes, so that's really cool. So seeing things that were from when they used to be like an what is it called? Empire, or they had a royal family. So seeing things like that, going to the palaces, because we don't have those in America. The closest thing we have, I guess, would be the White House. So by far my favorite memory was definitely just seeing that, experiencing that, and then also seeing how they repurposed the buildings through communism, and then seeing the aftermath of that, and just kind of seeing how the city's developed. Short term, I think it's benefited me personally. It's shown me, I guess, how strong of a person I can be in certain situations, because it was really tough some days just being there, particularly when it rained, and it's just terrible because since the city is hundreds of years old, there's just puddles everywhere, so you're wet all the time, your feet are wet all the time, which puts you in a bad mood, and then it's cold, and then your teachers are being really hard on you one day because you don't know this certain rule about Russian, and they're just beating you down, and so those days were really difficult, but I mean, it really showed me just how to cope with those sorts of things, and working with people that can be difficult sometimes, because when you're in a group of 5 and those are the only students you know, sometimes you can become a little annoyed with the other person, so just learning how to talk those things out, and just working on group dynamics. Another thing that was really beneficial about the trip was just being able to get the academic credits out of the way. I got 8 credit hours, 6 of which were 500 level or above in Russian language. So all those classes I went to for grammar paid off. And then I got 2 credit hours of just phonetics and all of that sort of stuff, just the mechanics of the language. So those are great because they come back on your transcript and they say summer study abroad. So when I send out those scholarship applications, they'll know I got to go abroad and I got to be immersed in the culture and immersed in the language. And because of that, you acquire so many small words. Like I learned the word polny, which means fat. But I learned that here. But I got to Russia and I found out that that word is used so many ways to describe so many things, like full-bodied flavor, just to say like just crazy things. So that was really cool, just to learn those small things like that. Well, going to a different culture and just living outside of your comfort zone was really beneficial to me. I mean, you have that group there from KU or from America that you can go back to, and you do meet other students from the UK and from America, and a lot of the students going to my school spoke English because it was a requirement to enroll in the classes, because when they can't explain something to you in Russian, they just default to English to try to explain it. But those occasions are very rare. You have to be completely just lost for them to go to English. But just meeting them, so you do have that comfort, but if you want to, you can just go out and meet other Russian students and live outside your comfort zone. So that was beneficial. And then also, for me, I want to live in Russia later for my career, and specifically in St. Petersburg, working with urban planning and just all the stuff that goes along with that. So it was really great to get over there, meet with some people who are in the profession, and kind of hear what's going on now and where they think it's going later, so I can come back to America and pick classes and do research that will help me later on in my career. Study abroad really did make me reevaluate my view of America. Before, I mean, I knew that some people didn't like America, things like that, and that a lot of people did like America as well. It's just kind of a love-hate relationship, and I didn't really think about it much further than that. But going abroad and just hearing different perspectives, not only from Russians, and but also from people who were studying from Italy and from France and from Germany, and just hearing all of that and digesting it made me really appreciate a lot of the things I have at home, and the conveniences and the freedoms that I have, the legal freedoms that I have. Because I remember in particular, one day I was out on my own, and this was my favorite day, because it was a day I spoke only Russian and made all these transactions, but I was downtown on Nevsky Prospect, just walking around, taking pictures for my photo class for our final assignment, and I met this woman who was working at a cart where they sold water and juice and ice cream. They have the best ice cream in Russia, by the way. And I stopped and I brought a water, and she asked me where I was from because I had an American accent, or an accent that wasn't familiar to her ear. And I said, "Oh, I'm an American student," and she goes, "Oh, American student, oh my gosh, that's so wonderful." And I go, "Oh, thank you," and she started talking to me, and I found out she was from Georgia, and she had just recently moved to St. Petersburg about 3 months ago, and she loved it there. She thought it was wonderful, so much better than home, and that was interesting to me because coming from America, where things are fairly, I guess, wonderful in comparison to how things are in Russia, it was just interesting for me to imagine what her life back home must have been like. And then she started talking to me about the things she saw about America on TV and how it must be like a dreamland and everyone's wealthy and there aren't any problems. So that was really interesting, and it made me really appreciate all the things that do go well in America. While we do have a lot of problems like every country in the world, I'd say that in comparison to where I was, it was really nice.